Street Fighter, The Room, and Left 4 Dead 2. Three's company on this week's Oh My God, This Week Was For The Win. It's the end of the week, so it must be time for another episode of Oh My God, This Week Was For The Win. I'm your host, Luke Brown. Thank you. You guys might remember me from the Collector's Edition show, the New Releases show, or as the guy who keeps writing Andrew Dice Clay in the hopes he'll do another movie about the adventures of Ford Fairlane.
It was pretty good.
See? Thank you. Things are starting to pick up around here, and we've cherry-picked the most retarded news just for you. Right off of the Japanese gaming industry's death throes at the Tokyo Game Show, Capcom has revealed that they're even more out of touch than anyone imagined. Instead of doing what any red-blooded American company would and pumping out gaggles of downloadable content for their hit title Street Fighter IV, or working on an actual sequel, they have announced work on Super Street Fighter IV. Call it tradition if you want, but that doesn't change the fact that this is another example of the Japanese gaming industry refusing to give up conventions in favor of screwing over customers. It's going to have 8 new characters, new tweaks and balances, and an improved lobby system to make the online better. You know, all the things that would have made Street Fighter IV better. A few years ago, the Japanese gaming industry was like old rock stars that weren't cool anymore. Now they're like that chick you thought was hot in 8th grade math class, only to find out at the high school reunion that she's since had a botched breast augmentation and a few dozen children. You know, whores. Fucking Lisa. I just can't understand how the Japanese gaming industry can continue to acknowledge its mistakes while repeating them over and over again. Not that any of this matters, since you filthy nerds are already sweating uncontrollably at the idea of executing ultra combos with T-Hawk.
It's true.
You're all to blame.
USA.
Another brilliant idea unveiled at this year's Tokyo Game Show was PlayStation Room, which will be the PSP equivalent of PlayStation Home and have a surprising lack of Tommy Wiseau. People will be able to furnish their single room and invite friends over to hang out and talk about all the great new apps they downloaded for their PSP Go's with avatars that look suspiciously like Bratz dolls. I'm not quite sure rational human beings are even running Sony's PlayStation division anymore. It's quite possible they've been infiltrated by an alien species from the planet Microsoftia, whose only desire is to drive Sony into the ground. More likely, though, is that the people in charge at Sony made a bet with the devil for the PS2 to last as long as it did, and now he's come to collect by forcing them to shove idiotic ideas like Room down people's throats. Seriously, how can anyone over there think that Room is a good idea? I mean, the last thing I want to do with my PSP is wait 10 minutes for a chat lobby to load. I'm not Home's biggest supporter, but at least on the PS3 an online gathering place sort of makes sense. Barely. While the development of the Room does mean that there's a chance friends lists might start making their way to Sony's Portable, I can't see a single person using this stupid thing. Guess it could be worse. Sony could be advertising their consoles using images of gamers donating blood to the Third Reich.
Wait, that happened.
Did it? Oh. Even though Left 4 Dead 2 was banned in Australia a while ago, Valve is now only starting to fight the process. The Aussies don't have a rating high enough to classify the zombie-filled sequel, and instead of adapting to the changing demographics and markets, have dug in their feet. The so-called Attorney General, which I can only assume is prison slang for warden, Michael Atkinson, had this to say of the current model. It certainly does restrict choice to a small degree, but that is the price of keeping this material from children and vulnerable adults. In my view, the small sacrifice is worth it. Now, keeping stuff away from the kids, I get, but vulnerable adults? Like, what do you mean? People with mental disabilities? That's pretty damn racist right there, is what it is. I mean, to single out a group of people because there was a problem with their chromosomes or because their brains don't work the same way as ours is simply disgusting. It's a wonder how Australia ever got beyond a penal colony with such progressive thinking. I mean, really, the Attorney General may as well change his motto for his next campaign to, "A vote for me is a vote for keeping the tardies locked up in the basement." I, for one, applaud Valve for taking such a stance against the bigotry so sadly prevalent in the Australian government today. I hope that even if their game still doesn't get released to the prisoners, that someone over there realizes just how fucking insensitive and stuck in their ways the wardens are and leads a breakout.
Yeah.
I'm pretty spent, but I'm going to take some time and go write my senator about the Australian treatment of minorities. You would do well to do the same. We'll see you next time.